Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to look a little bit more at events and some of the more finer details of the configuration you may need to add to those events. For the most part, ReadyGo does a pretty good job of just simply giving you the options that you need. However, life isn't always so simple. So there may be a case where you need to just go in and add some additional things to get the configurations of these events just right. Let's just start with a simple example where you may have an event where not every division is running in that event. Perhaps that might be a group event like a relay. Perhaps the under 16s join the open boys, for instance, and so forth. So perhaps we might need to just remove a few divisions. Well, that's quite simple. So long as there's no scores registered at all yet, which for me there aren't, I can just go ahead and remove divisions as I see fit. Another thing we may need to do is for races. Races, of course, often use lanes. As you can see, I have a lot of competitors, and they're not all going to be able to race at the same time. So of course, underneath the data tab, you'll expect to see heats. But what you may want to do is, once the heats are finished, to carry over the very best people from each heat into a finals. If this is how you run your races, you want to click the Add Finals button. You're going to need to do this for each of your individual division event. So for instance, the Open Boys will have a 100 meter finals. Doing this adds the following two buttons. You can go between your heats and your finals. As of course you can see, I don't have any competitors in the finals, and that's to be expected. How you actually progress your competitors into the final is a process which I'll explain at a later date. But suffice to say, it'll relate to who's done best in their heats. It's worth noting you don't actually have to have finals if you have an event which uses lanes and uses heats. If you don't specify finals, the scores are simply compared across all heats and placings are giving out across all heats. I hope that makes sense to you. Let's look at a different event now, an event which is notoriously difficult to deal with, high jump. I'm going to step into the Open Girls event as an example. What we need to set up here is in the data section. We need to specify starting bar heights for each of our divisions. ReadyGo is not going to know what starting heights you're going to want for each of your age divisions. I suggest setting the bar heights for each of your divisions before the day of your competition. Let's start by setting the Open Girls starting bar height to, 120 centimeters. Let's set the bar. Here at the top we have a 1.2 meter bar height now. To add additional bar heights, come across to the right where it says raise bar. It says 5 centimeters. You can specify that the bar gets raised by more each time, perhaps 10 centimeters each time, or whatever you want. Let's raise the bar by 10 centimeters just to show what happens. A second height is added at 1.3 meters. You'll also note that there's competitor progression here for the bar heights for high jump too. One of the primary considerations I made when making ReadyGo was that you may want your sports coordinators and event runners to be recording the results at the event themselves. This may not be the case for all people, but I'll explain why I've made the choices I've made. To help the runners of the high jump, I thought it would be nice to actually be able to eliminate those competitors who have failed to reach those heights. Here you can see that you can progress the competitors who have cleared the previous height. So what you'll in fact get when you click on 1.3 and advance the competitors is a subset of all the competitors. I believe this would be a helpful feature for those trying to enter scores on their devices at the event. I split it up into sections also, so that even on a small screen, high jump could be easily recorded. You can add all your bar heights in beforehand, or allow the runners of the event or the scorekeepers to add the bar heights in as the event progresses or when the results come in. Adding the bar heights before the event takes place enables you to print out score sheets with all the bar heights already entered. Let's add in a few more bar heights. This will do for now. Of course, you can continue to add more bar heights on the day with whoever needs to do so. If for whatever reason you may have made a mistake in one of those bar heights, perhaps you want the 1.4 here, you can click on that and modify and correct the bar height. Instead of 140 centimeters, we could say 145, just for instance. That concludes setting up our events. I trust this doesn't add too much overhead in setting up your events in ReadyGo. Thank you for listening.